Welcome everyone. Today we have an updated charge build for Barbarians for the Endgame for Season 3. Now looking behind me, I have updated our latest charge build, and you can see in the skill trees I have taken out the basic attack, and everything else is kept into effectiveness and also tons of damage. As you can see in the replays, we deal tons of damage in tier 100 dungeons. And fast forwarding a little bit into the Veld. This charge Barbarian is extremely mobile. We can deal with tons of enemies together and also tons of damage in terms of AoE damage, single target damage, and now we have even more cooldown reductions with the third shout with a martial glyph, which lowers the cooldowns of charge, kick, and also Wrath of Berserker. Together with the challenging shout that provides us a little more tanky durability, we can even take down tougher enemies and also groups of monsters. But most of the time you don't see us having a problem with this build. It is extremely mobile, extremely fast, and I can't, stress out how speedy it is. Most of the time with Barbarians, you're always managing your fury, you're always, managing your, a lot of cooldowns. But for this particular build, most of the time you don't have a problem with fury, don't have a problem with cooldowns, and you just feel super tanky and super mobile. And I'm really having a good time at updating and also constantly optimizing the charge build for us. And I do plan to make more charge build in terms of the bleeding, updating that, and also make more hybrid charge build for us for the Garnet that is coming. Now fast forwarding to the traps room. I'm sure you guys have seen in the previous charge build how powerful it is, and then just demonstrate to you guys again. The moment the tier 100 elite appears, we just charge into them, and as they get charged, they disappear, because we simply just does tons of damage, single target, and AoE damage. And should you ever need for burst of damage, go into Wrath of Berserkers, start kicking monsters to death, all of a sudden you deal 200%, 300% more damage through Berserk, and you gain so much fury, damage reduction, and also even more cooldown reduction through your shots. Now in terms of the boss fight, similar to the previous one, I have kept Frenzy in case you guys want an adjustment for the boss fight, and yes, you can still do the Frenzy plus kick combination for the single target boss, and I think this is still an alternative that you can go for. Because as I'm going to demonstrate to you guys into the build itself will require us to have minimum points. I do believe a certain minimum points onto Frenzy, because we're not going for any core skills or passives before we go to the third defensive skill tree. And because of this, I can keep Frenzy to level 4 and get all the benefits from Frenzy. And during the boss fight, I can easily swap in Frenzy, but in other times, I can easily come back over here, put Challenging Shout over here. And this is a quick adjustment for the boss, which allows us to deal tons of more damage. Now in case you guys are wondering, yes, I will be updating and also changing my skill gems for the boss fight for more critical chance, more damage from Flash of Adrenaline. And over here, I'll show you guys, you can just skip the swapping, you still deal tons of damage against the boss. Simply going into Berserk and casting Kick, this will do most of the damage. And also over here, what you can see is our charge actually does so much damage that will pretty much one-shot the boss through the charge and also the combination of the effects through charge. Now I'll be providing you guys with an updated builds guide. You can see that we have changed the gloves and also legendary effects on the rings, which I'll go through to you guys with updates. But majority of the things, it is very similar to the previous build. And if you haven't looked, definitely check that out for the more detailed explanation. So coming over to my character over here. Now I am currently using 3 uber unique items, including the helmet, the two-handed sword, and also the amulet. Now, should you want to see upgrades and also replacement if you don't have those uber unique, I'll have the notes available for you guys to have a look to see what are upgrades and what is the no uber unique build. And in our previous video, I did talk about this into more details, so definitely refer back to that previous video for the exchanges, because I talk about going for the unique helmet and also for the legendary helmet, going for a two-handed weapon that provides you with more damage, or going for an amulet with tons of damage reduction and now also even more utility. Now briefly going through the centerpiece of the build, we'll be charging into enemies with 4 engines, and enemies will explode upon taking damage from charge, and this will deal tons of damage. The 10,000 damage over here gets multiplied to over 1 million damage I believe, and this is great for AoE speed clear. And you might have noticed, I'm currently using this particular legendary effect on the gloves, previously it was on the rings. I have kept the legendary effect that lowers our brawling skill cooldowns, because we're using charge, kick, and we're using war cry as brawling skill. And this is a really powerful item to be farming, any tier of the dungeons, speed farming, and also reducing cooldowns. I have also opted into the Broad Chieftain, which allows us to reduce the shot's cooldown. By reducing the shot's cooldown, we'll lower the cooldowns of other spells, and this is incredibly powerful for a speed farming build. Now, most of the other items are kept similar, and you can see over here through the item choices over here, our centerpiece will be using this particular unique one-hand sword, which allows us to deal more damage with maximum fury. I'm currently sitting on 260 fury. I could get it to 300, but I think it's a little excessive. So notice that two-handed weapons are the choice for charge, and this is the center thing. This allows us to deal more damage and also even more damage onwards. Now, briefly going through the skill tree. Because we need a minimum of points to go into Frenzy before we can go into the defensive rank, nothing has changed that much. I have taken 1 point out of Frenzy, and I have went into 1 point at least into Enhanced Challenging Shot, which provide us with additional maximum HP to be a little durable. I have kept the 12% movement speed over here just because we want to be speedy. You can of course come over to the healing part if you find yourself a little squishy. Most of the time, our skill build is very durable. You'll be benefiting from barriers, you'll be benefiting from fortify, and you have tons of health, tons of damage reduction, and also tons of healing. Now the Paragon board is kept the same, and I'll refer back to the builder's guide for you guys to have a look at the Paragon board. We're currently using 6 different glyphs to benefit from vulnerability, healthy, berserking, and also lower cooldown reduction to shout, and also close damage reduction, and also increase. And also for fortified damage reduction and also increase. Now, because the skill rotations are very similar to the previous build, we'll still talk about it, but I want to give you guys some adjustments. Because I realized that 2 rings we have over here, if you're playing the charge build, those 2 rings are great for AoE damage, speed clear, nightmare dungeons, but they're not great for bosses. So what I recommend is I have 2 other availability of the rings and also adjustment that we can look into. So one of the things we can look into is we can take away the short cooldown reduction ring if you're not facing a lot of enemies against the boss. But if you are, you can take away the lowering cooldowns because you're not killing a lot of enemies against the boss. And because kick will be a major source of damage, you can then swap into this particular legendary effect to provide you guys with additional shot generating fury. And this goes back into the traditional Barbarian as you fight the boss, because you'll be lowering the shots cooldowns, you'll be getting more fury through the shots, and in return dealing more damage through the kick. And this will be our adjustment against the boss should you feel that you need more fury gain and also more single target damage. Now briefly going through a skill rotation. This one is very simple, right? So compared to the previous ones, you still want to charge into enemies. As you charge into at least one enemies, your cooldown will get reduced significantly. And as you charge into multiple enemies, with any lucky shots, your cooldown gets reset instantly. Now the build is actually extremely mobile. Should you need to gain movement speed or cooldown reduction, you can cast your Rally Cry or War Cry. Casting War Cry is also great because you reduce the cooldowns of War Cry because it's a brawling skill. Most of the time I'm gaining benefits in terms of movement speed, I'm also gaining Unstoppable. And this allows us to deal more damage and also gain tons of fury. Now should you ever need to be defensive, make sure you cast your challenging shot. Now one highlight for this particular build is that having 3 shouts means I can be shouting to lower the cooldowns of my ultimate. And this is extremely powerful because at times, I actually forgot to do it here, I just waited for it. At times I can cast my ultimate, cast my shouts, and all of a sudden my ultimate will get lower cooldowns. And during this time, I can be kicking enemies to spin my fury. So this allows me to deal even more damage with the Wrath of Berserker. I have written the skill rotation for you guys in the skill builder as well, if you want to have a look. And I think this build is pretty self-explanatory, and I think I'm having so much fun with the build, and I am planning to make even more builds with the Charge Barbarian.
ready yet.
If you guys haven't subscribed, it is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering tons of Diablo 4 related topics and also videos and also guides. We'll be looking to the top meta builds, non-meta builds, leveling up, and also Paragon tricks. We're also looking to the latest events and also official updates, and also changes to different characters and also different builds in the game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn the notification on, because a lot of you who are watching the videos have not subscribed. You can see 80% of the viewers who are watching our videos have not subscribed, so make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for the latest update for Diablo 4.